Let's hear what Fox is doing. They're
American
coping
people
right now.
Last.
Their liberal utopia is every American's worst nightmare.
This is a ticket that really represents the spirit of those 2020 BLM riots. They're riots that Tim Walz, as governor, sat back and let happen.
She has picked a dyed-in-the-wool radical progressive to join on that ticket. Shows exactly what her priorities are.
And they will have plenty to.
Great. Talk about that. Talk about the policies. That's great. Oh, he's a radical progressive. Why? Because he wants to feed children. Because he's feeding school children. That's awesome. That's phenomenal. Please, please keep it going. Keep it coming. Stick to the issues. That is losing. You will lose.
Ooh, this is great. We're going to have massively trained troops. No, you're going to have 19-year-olds who are cooks. Trying to make sure we don't see our cities burn. This is that catch-22. The more police are there, the more tension it is. The more tension it is, the more chance you have to get things. Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. You know, he talks about this wall. I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in the 30-foot ladder factory.
I'm nutting.
I'm nutting
too
right, so
hard.
As we await this first campaign rally, Jesse, will some of those words come back to haunt this ticket?
Kamala Harris choked. She chose Bernie Sanders. This is Bernie Sanders right here. The squad loves this guy. Loves him. You see pictures, they're like almost undressing together. What? And she managed to pick someone who looks older than Biden. I would have gone with the younger guy, but who knows if this was even her choice. Eric Holder was running the vetting op. He chose him, probably. You know, he's Obama's wingman. He probably was like, Kamala, you're picking Walz. Let's just lose this and get on to 28. Because this is like a sacrificial lamb pick. This is the pick you put up there to get crushed, and then so you keep your better candidates ready for the next cycle. It's also a trick pick, because this guy's not Minnesota nice. He's Minnesota nuts.
Yeah.
They keep saying this guy's, oh, there's Midwestern white value. Come on, this guy's a lunatic. Sanctuary cities, driver's license for illegals, sanctuary cities for sex changes for children. And if you don't want the sex change for your kid, then the state will come take your kid away from you. This guy put tampons in boys' bathrooms. 4th grade boys' bathrooms, tampons. He wants CRT taught. He was all about toppling the Columbus statue. This guy changed the flag of the state to look more like Somalia. What is wrong with this guy? In COVID, he had a snitch line so your neighbors could rat you out if you broke his lockdown rules. This man is out of his mind. He actually went and joined the army, and then right before they deployed to Iraq, quit. And all his unit is like, whoa, bro, where'd you go? They can't stand this guy. I've never seen this guy ever try to get out of a DUI. He said he was deaf from being in the Army. And then he blew a .12. I didn't know that. And Jessica, I have to ask, why did he honeymoon in China?
What?
He's been to China 30 times. That's strange.
Oh,
I find that
was he there with Hunter Biden?
Suspicious.
Okay.
Someone should look into it.
Okay. Do you care to answer that question?
Well, we obviously got different research today.
Okay.
Jesse's side and my side.
You just didn't get yours.
Oh, no, I got mine.
Okay, so
I got plenty of mine.
So here's the question, Jessica. To Jesse's point, apparently the Trump campaign is rather pleased with this pick. They think it'll be easier to beat them.
Yeah, they're definitely projecting that. I saw J.D. Vance this morning in front of a huge Kamala sign where you couldn't even read the chaos. So everything is going really well for that side of the aisle. And they were going to act like this no matter who the pick was. And they weren't going to come out and say, oh, we're really scared of Josh Shapiro. But there was a clear line. If you need Pennsylvania to win, Josh Shapiro made a lot of sense for that. He has a 61% favorability. He's a great speaker. He's definitely a lot more moderate. But Politico is reporting that the teams just didn't mesh as well, that Kamala and Josh Shapiro did not have nearly as a good sit down as she did with Governor Walz, and that Governor Walz brings a lot of experience that she wanted on the ticket, not only his time in Congress, where he was, I think, the 7th most conservative Democrat in the House, someone who is a gun owner, someone who does have those Midwestern values, but his executive experience in Minnesota. And I've seen, and Jesse just radiated some of them, the attacks on him as a socialist. I don't know what kind of socialist runs the number 6 best state in America for big business. Target is there for a reason. 3M is there for a reason. United Healthcare is there for a reason. General Mills is there for a reason. And the kinds of things that he has gotten past are exactly the kinds of things that Kamala Harris wants to talk about. Things like paid sick leave, $2.3 billion into public schools. He did a huge infrastructure bill.
Was this your top pick?
Yeah, actually it was. In the last couple of days, I was honestly happy with all 4 finalists. And if it had been Andy Bashir, Mark Kelly, Tim Walz, or Josh Shapiro, I would have been happy. But what you're going to see is the right trying to define him as Jesse did. But you're going to see that side-by-side picture of Tim Walz after he signed free school breakfast and free lunch. And someone like Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is a star in the Republican Party, got a prime speaking spot at the RNC, signing a bill to allow kids under 16 to be able to work. That is the contrast here. A guy who wants to put food in kids' bellies and someone who wants kids to be able to work. And he's the real deal. He is what J.D. Vance wishes that he were.
So you're questioning whether or not he's a socialist, and we just played a clip. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness, were his own words.
I don't think people know what the definition of socialism is.
Okay, first of all, I think that this pick reveals who she is, because we don't know who she is. She's pro, she's against, and we don't know who he is. Something like, America has no idea who this guy is. We've only got how many days before the election, and we're going to spend all this time talking about he is, he isn't, he is, he isn't. It's almost like she doubled down on someone like her. In other words, we don't know who he is, just like Trump doubled down on someone like he is. But the truth is that this guy, Tim Walz, was Bernie Sanders' choice. AOC's dancing. Let me finish. AOC is dancing. Rashida Tlaib is dancing. All of the progressives, the squad, Jamal Bowman is dancing. Look, this is a guy who wants illegals to get driver's license. This is a guy who allowed rioters in Minneapolis to destroy the city, to loot and to burn down, and literally said to constituents, well, you just stay in your house. No police, no nothing. And when that 3rd precinct was being burnt down, he basically said to the cops, you better get out of there. He didn't send anybody in to protect the people, the businesses, or the victims of those riots, those violent riots that were so peaceful. So the fact that he is the pick, and she turned against a guy who brings her a swing state, Josh Shapiro. He's got a 61% approval rating. 6 out of 10 people support him. Minnesota has always been a Democratic state. The guy brings nothing. He's a nobody, and here's the reason that she picked him, because nobody knows who he is or what he is.
I suppose perhaps we'll learn a little bit more about him when he speaks moments from now. Greg, what do you think?
Well, I'm always interested in hearing the repeat phrases that come up when something happens, and you could see the coordination. For example, all of a sudden the word weird popped up last week over and over again.
His idea.
And what's the word now? And Jessica used it, Midwestern. So Ezra Klein says, Tim Walz is the Midwestern dad Dems need. And then Jessica mentions the Midwestern values. If you Google Midwestern, you're going to get Tim Walz. So what is Midwestern? Is Midwestern looking at riots and saying it was caused by the lack of equity and inclusion? Is that Midwestern? Is calling those events exciting, and that reflects a sense of optimism? Is that Midwestern? He abandoned.
I love how much the Republicans are like, why isn't Josh Shapiro the pick? It's like, bro, you're giving the fucking game away. Okay? Like, we know you have no investment in the Democratic Party's success. So maybe these dumbass liberals who were also in the pocket for fucking Shapiro should perhaps understand that that was a bad pick.
As for the National Guardsmen, when he said they shouldn't come here because they're just 19-year-old cooks. Well, at least the only thing they're burning are food, as opposed to the 19-year-olds burning down into Arby's. I think this is a match made in heaven, or hell. You have Walz and Harris, they're the, he defended the burning of his cities.
Yeah, Republicans cried that Biden dropped out. Now they're crying that Shapiro wasn't the pick. It's bullshit. Let him fucking cry and be like, oh, it's anti-Semitic. It's anti-Semitic. It's like, it's anti-Semitic. Suck my dick, dude. Especially when talking about progressives as anti-Semitic is so funny. Because, like, they complained that the left wing of the party loved Bernie too much. And then they complained that the left wing of the party that loved Bernie so much, they voted for a third party, voted for Jill Stein. Like, consistently, out of all of the people that the supposed left wing of the Democratic Party or progressives in this country love. The fuck are we talking about? Anti-Semitism being a point of contention here is so fucking stupid. As a Midwestern undecided voter, the Republican rhetoric is weird and Walz is everything I'm about. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Notice how they're saying Walz hair is because they can't even conceive a woman in power. I mean, that's
listen for that for just a moment.
Point. We know that already.
Should Republicans be careful not to
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Kamala literally is married to a Jewish man, too. Like, like what is this argument, dude? The anti-Semitic Democratic Party is not like, bro, you are not clearing beyond 28%. Okay. In terms of the Jewish vote, I'm giving it 28% max for the Republican Party. That's my most, like, that is the most favorable percentage point in voters that they're going to get. Okay. Like, if they think that this is going to, if they think that this is going to like win them massive favors, yeah, good luck. They call him a bad Jew, so I don't think he counts to them. That's the other part. They will literally immediately be like a guy like Donald Trump will turn around and be like, Chuck Schumer, he's like a Palestinian. He's a bad Jew. Like, yeah, good job, man. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. That's definitely, like, you are getting the most conservative Jewish voters that were already voting for you. You are not picking up additional Jewish votes. It's just not happening. Especially because, like, if anything, one of the points of contention here are like young voters, and young Jewish voters are anti-Zionist by the same margins that young voters are across the board. Okay, the TikTok vote, like, it's just not happening.
It was the first major day in the Midwest battle that could determine the outcome of the 2024 election, but someone notable was absent: former President Donald Trump. However, the Trump campaign is now on the offensive, with its vice presidential nominee, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, launching an attack on the military record and credibility of Vice President Kamala Harris's new running mate, Tim Walz. The focus on the Minnesota governor, along with accusations that he avoided deployment to Iraq by retiring from the Army National Guard to run for Congress in 2005, marked a harsh introduction to the brutal realities of a national campaign where no issue is off limits. Trump left it to Vance to target the newly formed Democratic ticket across critical swing states on Wednesday, as the intense 90-day race for the White House kicked off. Harris and Walz held two high-energy rallies in Wisconsin and Michigan.
Earlier, long lines. What are you seeing inside?
People here are going crazy in a way that I have not seen in all of the dozens or more of Biden events that I have been to in the last couple of years. You look at this crowd, there are 10,000 or so, mostly young people, right now singing along to a ludicrous song. They've been very engaged the entire afternoon that they've been waiting, and it's got more of a concert vibe than a political rally vibe. And you can see behind me, people are wearing the kind of wristbands that they can control. Somebody in the back is controlling. They can be red, white, or blue, like you would see at a Taylor Swift concert or something like that. And so they are bringing out prominent Democrats from Pennsylvania. We just heard from Fetterman. We heard from Bob Casey. Josh Shapiro is going to come next. They are still making him talk as the battleground state governor, even though he was passed over for a running mate. But there is so much more excitement from the people that are here and from the people that are putting on this event than we saw for anything with President Biden. And we come to Philly with him more than we go anywhere else. Other than Delaware, he has been to Pennsylvania more times than any other place, but we'll pop into like a Union Hall, or the big one that they did here was at Independence Hall outside, and he was talking about threats to democracy. It looked really dramatic, but there were not a ton of people, and they are cheering like somebody else is about to come out. So I will throw it back to you.
All right, Peter, thanks so much. And Minnesota Governor Tim Walz set to make his debut as Kamala's new running mate. While we wait for that, hiding Kamala is taking a page out of the Joe Biden playbook.
oh God, oh my God. Do not let anyone forget how wrong so many Democratic Party loyalists were and how right this guy was in terms of talking about how much momentum would immediately fucking land on the Democratic Party's fucking feet, dude. Oh, God damn, dude. Year of vindication. Year of Hasanabi vindication, motherfucker. Holy shit. Everyone that portrays themselves as like these big, brilliant thinkers that just toe the Democratic Party's line and repeat basically whatever the fuck they hear from MSNBC, turning around and just eating crow, okay?
On why Kamala has been dodging the press.
Well, she can't answer questions. She hasn't done one interview. You know, she's not doing any interviews.
Yeah.
Because if she did one interview where hard questions asked, she's incapable of answering it.
I'm a Minneapolis resident. Walz has been handling he let the city burn narrative for years. He uses an opportunity to show how well Minnesota is doing nationally. Yes. I think that's also a great take as well overall. I think that's that in and of itself also can be framed within the weird narrative too. Republicans are weird. They keep talking about like these beautiful American cities are, you know, shitholes and burned to the ground. Look at how well Minneapolis is doing. They're lying to you. They're lying about your backyard too.
The very few things she said about this administration actually trying to address inflation. And in 2021, when inflation just started to rear its ugly head, and they sort of downplayed it, ignored it, said it wasn't going to last, and it sure did, and it's still here. She had this sort of stumbling, mumbling answer as to how this administration was going to tackle.
Folks, I've officially become a Dr. Pepper boy. The strawberries and cream zero sugar soda has converted me. This is like, I've upgraded I've always been a soda boy, as you guys know, but this is unique. I am now officially a Dr. Pepper soda boy as well. I also have next to me a Dr. Pepper cream soda one as well, which I will be trying. It is honestly, I'm invested. Okay. I'm PhD Pepper. Okay. A lot of people have said this is a really good soda. I'm actually in the pocket. I've improved on my soda flavors.
Of the American voters. We saw this across the aisle, and we did not just see this in border states. We saw this all over the country. Okay, so she seems to be running away from the fact that she was tasked with fixing the problems at the border. It was just the.
I think after the strawberries and cream one, this one seems not as good, but it's still pretty good.
Judge.
Yeah, Jesse, Pelosi calls Walz middle of the road. Is that middle of the road as per San Francisco guidelines?
The middle of Haight-Ashbury. That's right. Kamala is so scared, Judge. It's been since June she's done an interview. What's she so scared of? I thought she was this big tough prosecutor.
Yeah,
that was going to take on Donald Trump.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're not afraid. We're not flailing. Oh, Kamala. Oh, she made a really big mistake. It's like, yeah, dude, she made a really big mistake for fucking getting an objectively popular governor on the ticket who has done so much.
He'll talk to anybody. He's trying to be the president of all Americans. Kamala's terrified of ABC News. She's terrified of MSNBC. What is she hiding? I mean, everybody knows what she's hiding because she's a mess and she's been protected by the Democrat machine. That's why she's laughing. Greg touched on it yesterday. She's just going to giggle until they drag her across the finish.
Yeah, that's crazy that they're saying this when like Donald Trump is refusing to do a debate with Kamala Harris unless it's on his own terms, which is pretty wild.
She owes everybody in Congress anything they want. She has to give them. She knows the deal. She's a puppet who's just going to start signing checks and giving away goodies for the entire term if she's elected.
You know, Jessica, there is some truth to that. I mean, even with Evan Gershkovich coming back, there are so many times in the last 16 days that she could have come out and set herself up as a real candidate. But she's just smiling and giggling and reading from a teleprompter. Why?
Well, first, on the hostages or the prisoners being released, she was the first person to hug Evan Gershkovich when he got off that plane. She was there to greet.
Too. I'm glad she hugged him.
But you're making it seem as if she is not present for this, that she hasn't been.
No, I'm saying she's not talking to the American people.
And I've been supportive of her doing more interviews. She's not afraid of ABC. She has agreed to do the Stephanopoulos debate on September 10th. I hope she will also do a Fox debate and one in another venue as well. But she's not hiding from that. And I've been consistent. I think that she should sit for long interviews and talk about how she's evolved on policy positions. I think that she
How do you think she'd do?
I think that she would do certainly a lot better than Jesse thinks. And he says in the last block, you know, I'm not taking anything for granted. The way that you're talking, you are taking it for granted, kind of like you did before the red wave that wasn't in 22.
We don't talk about red waves.
We do. Well,
not anymore.
Okay.
It's going to be close.
The idea that you're going to be able to paint Tim Walz as a San Francisco, it should be noted that the first time he went was 1 month ago. J.D. Vance lived there for 4 years.
Okay. So what do boys need tampons for?
I don't know about
Why
this
is he
tampon
giving
in the
little
bathroom.
boys tampons then?
Why is he giving illegals driver's licenses?
I don't know, because they need to drive to work. Easy answer.
Where's where you're going with that?
Asked and answered.
Anywhere. I'm
Okay,
asking a simple question.
Tim,
Yeah, because they're human
Why
beings.
would you give
And they participate in the American economy in much more meaningful ways than you drunk piece of shit. So yeah, no, it's a good idea.
If you look at any of the statistics relating to accidents with illegals, there's a real problem for Americans.
So most accidents are from undocumented people in
No,
America.
no, what I'm saying is when they
drive
get
drunk.
into accidents, they don't have
Okay.
insurance.
If you continue running a campaign like this, where you're attacking him in that way, where you're talking about Kamala as someone who doesn't know anything, who's incompetent.
That's great. Judge Janine Perot making an argument for undocumented migrants to not only have driver's licenses, but also to have insurance. There you go. Asked and answered. Problem fucking solved.
Pitch on inflation. A single policy pitch on the economy. That is
Well,
fact.
all right,
Have you gotten to the-
Greg, why don't you wrap this up?
Well, thank you. I was getting kind of bored over here.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of things. I'm always curious when I see liberals get upset when you point out the liberalism of their allies. It's like, why would Pelosi be upset when you mention that Walz is a liberal? Isn't it weird when you describe a better version of your politics as something that is less what your politics?
My family's Jewish and my dad loves it. There's a second Jewish second husband, and all of our Jewish friends have never even thought about voting for Trump. I actually have no idea what Fox News or Trump is talking about. Yeah, it's like the trying to run with the, first of all, the Jewish vote in and of itself is not like statistically important. Let's just make that very clear. It's not even, and part of that is because it's in like already deep blue areas regardless. Okay. So like, what are we talking about here? It's ridiculous. As far as like voting blocks goes, it is not a monolithic vote in general, but it's also literally like 75%, 76% Democratic leaning voters regardless, right? So they think that they can put a dent in this by being like, we're super pro-Israel, not realizing that like a lot of older Jewish voters already understand that the Democratic Party is also super pro-Israel, if that is a consideration for them. And on top of that, they are very socially progressive, much more socially progressive. The 23%, 24%, 25% are already very conservative Jewish voters that still live in these deep blue districts, and they're, you know, voting for Republicans anyway. You are not going to be able to move the needle on this issue in a significant manner. And even if you were able to, you're still talking about the margins here. You're still talking about deep blue areas where not only will you not be able to do this, but even if you were able to do this, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't statistically matter in terms of like winning an election.
Harris's vice presidential pick, Tim Walz, has sparked interest halfway across the globe in China. Chinese social media users have been discussing Walz's year spent teaching in Guangdong province in 1989, a topic that gained traction on Weibo, garnering 12 million views. Walz and his wife, fellow teacher Gwen, even chose China as their honeymoon destination. Walz once described his decision to teach in China as one of the best things I have ever done. The 60-year-old Minnesota governor was a history teacher and football coach before entering politics. Fresh out of college, he moved to China to teach English and American history at a high school. The fact that this occurred in 1989, the year of the Tiananmen Square massacre, has not gone unnoticed by those commenting on Chinese social media. Some users remarked that foreigners who were in China during that time are often the most anti-China. Others noted that China in 1989 was a vastly different country, long before it became the world's largest manufacturing hub, the second largest economy, and a formidable rival to the United States. This candidate was in China at a very different time. The atmosphere was very different, read one comment. If you found this video interesting, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.